We're ready to go.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Mayor and Council. I'd ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we are all thinking about the people and the humanitarian crisis in the Ukraine. Please salute the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the record in the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Being that this meeting is being held remote, I need to mention the following. All participants are muted during the meeting. Anyone wishing to make comments or ask questions can do so at such time as the meeting is open to the public for comment and during public hearings on any ordinances by hitting the button to raise your hand or by typing a message in the chat box. You'll need to state your name and address for the record. Members of the public may also submit written comments for any future remote meetings by either email to cdemirez@newmilfordborough.com or a written letter to the borough clerk. Written comments must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the remote meeting in order to be read into the record during the meeting. Members of the public commenting during a remote meeting shall not act in any manner to disrupt the meeting. If anyone becomes disruptive during the meeting, they will be muted. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public have been provided an opportunity to comment. Any continued disruption may result in a member being prevented from speaking during the remainder of the meeting. Disruptive conduct includes, but is not limited to, shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. At this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Present.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Present.
Council President Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotzky.
Here.
Councilman Seymour.
Here.
Councilwoman Grant.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Here. Okay. Under unfinished business, may I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the February 14th, 2022 closed and work session meetings?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstention. Okay. We are adopting ordinance 2022:05, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
A capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $196,000 for the improvement of Graphic Boulevard from Birch Avenue to Chestnut Street in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a state grant.
Yes, this is road and curb improvements. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to open up to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions or concerns about ordinance 2022:05, now is your opportunity.
No member of
Motion
the
to
public has indicated that they wish to speak on this, Mayor.
Make it a motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Starkey Hurley,
Yes.
Council President Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to new business, we have a proclamation for Black History Month, which was this past month, February. Whereas the history of Black History Month goes back to 1915 and was first celebrated in 1926. And whereas in 1976, President Gerald Ford issued the first African American History Month proclamation. And whereas National Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder, Black history is American history, and Black culture is American culture. And whereas understanding Black history is important to understanding our nation, and whereas it is appropriate to acknowledge and celebrate the immeasurable contributions of Black Americans, honor the legacies and achievements of generations past, recognize past injustice, and confront injustice that still festers today. And whereas we are committed to advancing equity and racial justice, and whereas an African American burying ground was recently discovered in New Milford that is believed to date back to well before 1883, and whereas we support the recognition and acknowledgement of the African American burial ground, which enslaved people were buried, and whereas the Borough of New Milford wishes to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community, our state, and our nation. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Michael Petrino, Mayor of the Borough of New Milford, proclaim February 2022 to be Black History Month and encourage all residents and businesses to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is more just and more peaceful. Okay. We have a couple of appointments tonight. The first one, I would ask for a motion for Zachary Callie for the Environmental Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, well, congratulations, Zachary, and thank you very much for your service. We are looking forward to it. I know Environmental Commission is doing really good things, so he's joining a good group. The next one is liaison to the New Milford Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and I'd like to nominate Councilwoman Grant. So may I get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain, but thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I know you have a really good relationship with MVAC, and we hope to continue it.
Yes, I've been a liaison before and I enjoy working with them very much. They are a very dedicated group of people.
Excellent. The next one is OEM liaison. I'd like to appoint myself, so if I can get a motion on that, great.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have been the OEM liaison in the past, and I enjoy working with them as well.
Mayor, just a question. Was there an OEM liaison last year?
It was me.
Oh,
I served as a liaison last year.
I mean, was it left off in January for some reason?
We appointed Hetty as the OEM liaison in January, and we failed to
Oh.
appoint a liaison to MVAC. So
I gotcha. We're
we're replicating last year. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
You're welcome. We have an introduction of some ordinances, and the first one will be 2022:06. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
capital ordinance of the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, authorizing the making of various public acquisitions and improvements in, by, and for the borough, appropriating therefore the sum of $53,238 and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from the capital improvement fund of the borough.
Okay, so some of the items in this ordinance are building computers, police department repeater, our updated pedestrian crosswalk signs. For the fire department, there's some new fencing and a ceiling fan for the bathroom. So may I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing on this ordinance will be at our March 14th meeting. Okay, we have one more introduction tonight. It's ordinance 2022:07. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new communication and signal system equipment and new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $950,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Okay, so this is our 2022 capital ordinance, and some of the highlights include $345,000 for roads and curbs, $400,000 for a dump truck and roll-off for the DPW, $45,000 for a police department vehicle. We have various fire department equipment and safety equipment for $40,000, and $120,000 for new and renovating HVAC systems in a number of the borough buildings. So can I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Council President Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance as well, there'll be a public hearing at our March 14th meeting. Okay. Item number 1 is Memorial Day overtime. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. So I know we haven't had a parade in a couple of years. We will be having one this year. What I'd like to let everyone be aware of, in the past prior years, we have had our chairperson, Darlene Minko, has had a problem the day of the parade by not having members there, or just 1 or 2 members to help. So our last parade was very shorthanded and she went nuts, basically. So I'm asking whether or not possibly we could have a couple of gentlemen from the DPW to assist in the setting up of our parade.
Well, I think that's a good idea. I know what you're referring to. I know there was some safety concerns with the lack of people and the amount of people. And I think this year we're going to have a really, really huge turnout for this parade. So I think it would make sense to have a few extra hands on deck just to help out and keep it organized for the kickoff.
That would be wonderful.
Councilwoman Duffy.
I totally agree with this. I think this is a long time coming. this is not the first we've heard of that kind of confusion on the day where a lot of people converge on one spot at the same time. I would like to see that the members of the DPW that'll be assigned to that task on that day to have specific tasks to do rather than show up and just say, what do you want me to do? I think they should be assigned certain things. They should meet with the committee and also the chair so that it's completely clear what their roles are for that day, as well as to have them assist the chair with marking off the order of the parade early that morning. So I believe there's a lot of moving parts to that parade that have not been moving very well lately. And then of course with COVID, we might be a little rusty on the whole thing. So I think it's a great move. DPW does not disappoint when they send help. So I think it's a great thing. I'm all for it.
I would suggest that rather than individual members of the DPW, if the chair could meet with the director and the superintendent in advance, and they can coordinate the tasks, and then they can work with the people that are going to actually be there that morning.
Perfect.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
Great plan. You know, in the past, we did have, she did have and discuss with the members all the different jobs that had to be done at the parade. It's just that we were very shorthanded. One person showed, so we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
do that this
This
year.
will be
'Cause
good.
I think we should have a fabulous crowd.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to
Thank
be a
you.
great parade. It's going to be
Yeah.
absolutely great. Okay. Item number 2 is Borough Hall Generator Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. So the generator at the Borough Hall, I'm not sure if you're aware, is approximately 30 years old, and we've undergone numerous repairs. The most recent was a cost of $1,000 just for parts. The work was done in-house. And when it is working, it covers only some of the lighting and the OEM office, which was added onto the generator when we created the OEM office, but it doesn't include any outlets or HVAC. And it's, you know, when we had Hurricane Sandy, we had to shut down the Borough Hall for a week because we didn't have enough power to generate enough electricity to run the offices. So I checked with the people from Colliers that we're working with that are advising us with the ARP funds to find out whether or not this would be an eligible expense, and they said that it would. The reason that it came to mind was that we had a power outage, I think it was on the 22nd of February, when a tree came down on Newbridge Road, and the generator clicked on and then went off because it overheated because it needed to depart. So it's not functioning well. It's not something that, you know, if we needed to have, you know, a place where people could come in an emergency in order to charge, whatever, that's not the Borough Hall at this point in time. So I did want to discuss whether or not there would be support to purchase a new generator through with the use of the ARP funds. Depending on whether or not we go with a diesel or a gas generator, it would make the difference in the price. It would be somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 to get the size generator that we need for full power to the Borough Hall, including, you know, all offices, electricity outlets, HVAC. And as I said, I did check to see if it's eligible. He did tell me the way that we would go about doing it if we wanted to do it prior to adoption of our budget. And I, you know, ran it past Diana, and she's comfortable with the way that that would be, you know, be done. And I wanted to find out whether or not anybody was interested in pursuing this.
Are you saying this would be fully reimbursable
It would be paid for with the funding through the ARP funds.
Then I think I'm interested in going forward with that. The Borough Hall needs to have a properly efficient generator.
I
We have to
also
be-
think, I also think we need to have our auditor look at it Spending
Why
money.
would that be, Ira?
because, because we're limited in how much money we have, and I want to
But
make
I
sure that
spoke-
we have sufficient money.
I did speak to him today and he said that he was on board with for that level of expenditure. He didn't think that it would be an issue.
Okay, that takes care of that.
We have to be up and running when the power's down. When in the middle of a storm, we have to be up and running. I mean, we need the 1.21 gigawatts to run this place. So
And there is more capacity on the generator that we have, but I talked to Vince about whether or not it was something that we wanted to invest in putting more things on a 30-year-old generator as opposed to moving forward with something new.
There comes a time in every mechanical thing's life.
Can I ask a question? Is OEM powered with that same generator?
Yes, they are, yes.
So if you go down, we don't have OEM.
Well, I mean, if the generator goes down, right,
Right.
they're not
Right.
running.
we don't have anything.
If the
Should they
generator is
be-
functioning, OEM's covered, yes.
Right.
Should
So-
they be on their own? Their own generator?
They don't have one.
I mean, it's part of the
Well, they
building.
will.
It's
Oh,
part of the main building, so if we have something new, it would be covered.
Yeah, they have a redundancy plan. So if Borough Hall is down and they can't operate, they will move their location to one of the firehouses that are up and running. OEM will always be running. So they don't need a separate generator at the Borough Hall.
but with the OEM plugged into the Borough Hall right now, it's overloading the one we have.
No, it's not overloading, it's just that the one that we have is not,
It's just old
yes.
You just
and
have to get a new one.
time to go. Here's the door. Yeah, all right,
Facelifts are no longer helpful for it, in other words.
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Item number 3 is Bergen County Open Space Administrator.
Okay. I did circulate the information about the application. The declaration of intent is due April 8th. We do have some time. The application is due May 6th, and in advance of that application, we need to have a public hearing on anything that we might be interested in pursuing. I did hear back from the DPW and Recreation. There weren't a tremendous amount of ideas floating around. One that was suggested was at Prospect Park, we worked on the younger children's playground with a grant from 2011, and they suggested that the older kids playground could use some refurbishment, and suggested that as a possibility. And one of the other things that John Heineman suggested, which I thought was interesting, was a possibility of, well, one was to light the basketball courts at Prospect Park, which they aren't lit right now. And the other was for a volleyball court added over into the parking lot where the American Legion used to be. I wasn't necessarily on board with that idea.
That's
But-
a municipal parking lot.
Well, in the area where people are not really parking, so exactly where the American Legion building used to be was where he suggested the volleyball court. I don't have cost estimates for any of these items. I just wanted to throw out the 3 suggestions for the council's consideration to see if there were any other suggestions that you may want to pursue, and to just move us a little closer toward making a decision about whether or not we want to apply this year, and if so, for what.
I sort of like the Prospect Park idea.
Do too.
The
And I
playground,
don't think we should,
Yeah, I do
Playground.
as well.
In the playground and or,
think
I don't know what it would cost to light Prospect Park, but it definitely gets basketball use. And in the winter, it is now like the place to go sleigh riding.
And
So if
sleigh
that was lit
riding
up,
at night.
that would be
would
fantastic.
So cool.
I don't think we should do a volleyball court in the municipal parking lot.
Yeah.
I think
They do
down
have
the
one
road-
light on the hill for the snow sleigh riding, but I'm sure it would benefit from additional lighting.
Right, because even if the lighting was on the bottom, you're going right into the light.
I could tell you, because I go there with Kenzie all the time, and
Yeah.
I agree. It could use
So
some
I
extra
have a
lights out.
question.
Great.
When you say the adult playground, are you
No,
speaking about
I
the
would-
basketball courts, right?
No, we're talking about there's like a little play gym on the, I guess it's the west side of
side.
Prospect Park. So it would be the equipment that's over on the east side.
By that dead end.
Yeah.
Kind of.
correct, yeah.
So do we want to go with the lights or the playground equipment at this point? I mean, I don't
Is
think
it?
that
You
if the
can't
lights
do-
are,
I like
we
the
wouldn't
light.
get funding for both. We wouldn't get
Okay.
funding for both.
I would say lights.
I would
Let's,
say lights.
yeah.
I
Can we get
think
the
lights
cost
too.
on both of them?
Okay.
But I think option A should be the lights, but let's get the cost. I'm still holding out hope for volleyball courts in the Sutton Place tennis courts. So I know we had talked about they have those nets that turn into volleyball nets, but the ones we were looking at, apparently some places were having problems with them. So we don't want to, we want to look for other options because we don't want to install something that's other people are having problems with.
Right.
Yeah, I think Paramus was having some problems, so we want to figure it out, which would work out great because Sutton will be getting lights in the near future.
Yes,
I
that's
put in my,
your future.
can I add a comment?
Sure.
That I
The volleyball related?
No, it's well, sort of. So it's volleyball related. I like the idea of bringing volleyball courts to New Milford. I think our municipal lots are very small and precious, and I think we're going to be needing them. Summer's coming, Main Street's getting more restaurants and busier, and I think taking any municipal parking spaces away is going to put a burden on local streets and residents. So I think, so let's keep it what we have. I know it's not being used a lot right now, but that's not always going to be the case.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's good. We have a direction.
Okay, item number 4 is the 2022 budget update. Councilman Grotzky.
Thank you, Mayor. The Budget Committee is still working fervently on getting numbers together to come up with a responsible budget. We're still missing a large number from the BCUA. We've able to cut some places. We've able to add some income in some places. Hopefully this week we'll have a BCUA number, so we'll be able to go further with this and come up with a budget. That's pretty much what I have to say on that for now.
I would just add that we are scheduled to introduce our budget on March 28th. Our auditor will attend that meeting. So I'm hoping that the committee will have a final recommendation for the council at our next meeting.
Any other questions on the budget? Yep. I know that budget committee is working hard.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it always is.
I know.
Okay, item number 5 is schedule updates. This Sunday on March 6th at 11 a.m., the borough will be participating in Black Balloon Day. There will be black balloons on the columns of the Borough Hall. There will be information left on the steps for anyone who wants to show up during the day and get some information. And at 11 a.m., I will be reading the Black Balloon Proclamation. We may have a guest speaker for that day. I know the Stigma Free Committee is working on that. So that would be an extra bonus plus to have someone there. On March 15th at 7:30 PM, we will have the bags with the candles on the steps of the Borough Hall. This is our COVID-19 remembrance. We did it last year and we had 51 bags. Each bag represents one of our COVID-related fatalities in town. Unfortunately, this year, the number has increased and we will be placing 71 bags on the steps. They will be lit through the remainder of the evening. So at any time after 7:30, any resident is pleased, you're more than welcome to come. Take a look, pause, and just want to remember someone. It's a pretty powerful silent event. And I know we have someone here from the 100th anniversary, but before we get to that, are there any events non-100th anniversary related that you want to bring up at this time? Councilwoman Duffy.
I did see that Friday, March 4th, is the soup in a bowl presentation at the high school cafeteria. All proceeds going to our food pantry in town. So I think that's a wonderful thing. I've attended it before with Mayor, you, and a number of other council members. So it's a worthy cause.
Yeah, I have some
They-
really
they
cool
do great work.
ice cream
The
bowls
students
from them.
Yeah,
The students do excellent work, yes.
Absolutely,
they do.
cause.
Yes.
absolutely.
What time does that start? Council President, do you happen to know?
5 to 8.
Thank you.
I posted it, let me,
Yeah, yeah,
5 to 8.
it is. Thank
the 4th,
you.
Friday.
4 to 8? I'm sorry, I didn't.
5 to 8.
Oh, I thought Hetty said it. No, it was 4. Thank you.
Okay. As promised, we have some updates on our 100th anniversary celebration. So I'm going to kick it over to Council President Duffy.
All right, the big hype is finally here. Drum roll, please. No, honestly, between the mayor, Councilwoman Siraki Hurley, and Nancy Veritoni, our chair of our committee, as well as our historic commission chair, we have been meeting and then on and off with some of our other committee members, but we wanted to bring you up to date since we are here. This is the year, it's 100 years. So with that, I'm going to turn it right over to you, Nancy, and
Okay.
go girl.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah. Oh, thanks so much. I just really just want to go give you an overview of the schedule for the 100th anniversary. It's been a little bit of a challenge trying to plan events during a pandemic, but we have kind of come up with a schedule. We're still working on some of the details for a number of these events, but we do have a schedule pretty much in place. So starting, and actually things are going to be starting in April, on April 3rd. That's our opening ceremonies. That will be held at Borough Hall on the front steps. The plan there is we're going to raise the centennial flag for the first time. We're also going to reveal the contents of the time capsule that was buried for the 75th anniversary. Our guests will include current and former elected officials who have represented the borough on any number of levels of, local, county, state. We've extended invitations to our senators, to the governor. They just went out recently. I have gotten an acknowledgement from the governor's office that they received the invitation, no commitment yet. Senator Booker's office did ask for more information about the event. Still no commitment, but we hopefully will start getting those in soon. So that our opening ceremonies will be followed with a little reception The reception is going to feature foods that you would typically would have been served in the 1920s. So it's little tea sandwiches with Wonder Bread, Reese's and Baby Ruth bars. We'll have, pineapple upside down cake was a big thing too. And then we'll have lemonade and iced tea to drink because it is during Prohibition, so we have to keep it dry. So on the April 18th, that's the actual anniversary of the vote for the 100th the vote of the incorporation of the borough, and it's also falls on the Monday right after Easter. It's during Passover, so it's kind of hard to have a big event because it'll conflict with other things, but our plan is to kind of light up a Borough Hall with special lights and call attention to the anniversary. And I don't know if this is, whether I think the mayor had mentioned something about doing some sort of reenactment of the actual reading of the referendum to for the incorporation. So I'll leave that up to you to see what you want to do. But
We're doing it.
Yeah, okay, doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. Now one of our goals, or part of our planning process, was to incorporate the theme of the 100th anniversary into a lot of our regularly scheduled events. For example, when Little League and softball have their opening day, the kids will have the anniversary patch on the shirts. We'll be on the Memorial Day parade, which we talked about a little earlier. We'd like to have a float. So we'd really like to get that 100th anniversary theme mentioned as often as possible. So we'll have the regular events, and then we'll kind of bring in the special events. The next big event for the anniversary will be June 8th. And that's the date, that's actually New Milford's birthday. That's the date that the French patent was signed. And that was the real estate transaction that David Demarest bought the land from the Tappins, and that created the first permanent settlement in Bergen County. So on June 8th, we actually have two events. Our friends at the public library are having a birthday party, and this is geared for kids. They're going to have cupcakes. We are planning to have different activities. One of them is a kindness rock project. You may have heard those, where they decorate the rocks with little sayings. And then the other item that we wanted to distribute to the participants is a custom coloring book, where you take photos around town, they're converted into line art. And so the kids would have a coloring book about the historic sites of New Milford. So that would be at the library at around 4 p.m. That evening is our Hall of Fame gala, which is going to be at the Newbridge Inn, and we'll induct the first class of inductees into the New Milford Hall of Fame. There are other halls of fame in town. We do sports and stuff like that, but this would be more encompassing of the entire town. The categories are similar to what they have for the State Hall of Fame. We do public service, business and enterprise, arts and letters, entertainment, sports, and then we have a category of local heroes for those people who contributions may not neatly fall into one category, or maybe they fall into several categories. But we've put together a list of people that we believe are eligible. A lot of several of the inductees are, we hope will be able to attend. Others are, historical figures in town. Like, we don't think J. Walter Christie will be around, but he would be somebody who we would include in that group. So that's we'll start selling tickets for that probably by mid-March, and it'll be at Newbridge Inn. We're expecting about 100 people for that event. The big event that we're really planning will take place on July 2nd. And this is a food truck festival and fireworks. So that would, this is The vendor that we're dealing with is Celebration Fireworks. And they're based in Pennsylvania, but they will come out, do a site visit so they can see exactly where, where the fireworks will be shut off, where the audience, the spectators will be. We gave them a budget of $10,000 for that. The food truck festival so far, there are 15 food trucks, and that includes 4 dessert trucks. The others would represent a variety of food styles, tacos, lobster rolls, whatever, you name it. There are games and activities for children. And again, the vendor we're working with is Just Jersey Fest. They have conducted events like this throughout North Jersey, or actually the entire state, including they've done it in Paramus, Saddlebrook, Bloomfield, and Belleville. So they have a lot of experience, they've gotten good recommendations for people who have worked with them. We were planning on probably the festival would precede the fireworks. That would be in the afternoon. The fireworks would follow at dusk. I did check with John Heineman. There are no games down by the municipal complex on that day. As far as how this would work, there would be no charge for people to attend the festival, but they would pay for whatever they bought at the food trucks if they wanted to participate in a particular game or anything like that. So the major outlay of funds that we have would be for the fireworks. The other big event that we're planning is in October, and we're envisioning like a music festival. And from what I understand, the pavilion down by Knights Field, we're hoping that will be done by then. And if it's done, that could be the inaugural event down at the pavilion. The idea is it would feature hopefully local musicians, New Milford talent, and there would probably have some like a food truck or some way for people to get refreshments or whatever. And then closing ceremonies would be at the tree lighting, where we would bury another time capsule for the 100th anniversary. Throughout the year, we'll be asking people to donate things for the time capsule. The library has offered to display not only what we reveal on from the 75th time capsule, but they said they'll even do display case. People might want to, show what they want to put in the new time capsule. So that's the real short and sweet, explanation. So please, if you have any questions, or if I left anything out, let me know.
Nancy, I'm assuming that all this information will be put on the borough website.
It is, yes. We have something on the website already. We have a whole page that's dedicated to the 100th anniversary. We have the list of forms. We have the tentative schedule. We even have other items up there too. The Historic Preservation Commission has been doing an oral history project, and we've been posting not only a little write-ups about the people we've interviewed. There's a link to our YouTube page so people can actually hear the interviews as well as read a written summary. So all that's online.
Do you have a Facebook page or
Yeah,
other social media?
We're doing that. We do that through the Historic Commission. We're using our page for that.
Oh, so nothing separate, in other words.
No.
Do we have a list of times and the dates? I'd like to get that over to the police department and DPW to make them aware.
It is on the schedule, and I did send them a copy of our schedule. I sent to DPW, the police, Christine. I hope you got that. I sent Chris a lot of emails during the day. But yeah, so I did. I did, but Ira, I can certainly get that to you too. So
thanks, Nancy.
No problem.
The only thing I would add to our July 2nd New Milford Day Festival is we have had communication with the New Milford Elks Club, and we are working on possibly having a beer garden for that night that would be run by the Elks on their property. So that's something that we will, if that matriculates, we will certainly get that information out there as well.
Okay. We also kind of in advance too we have done some fundraising for this. We have the street banner program. We sold banners that will go on the street lamps that were installed as part of the streetscape projects. And that was very successful. The local business community came through big time for that. We had the first round of sales that we did with that this last summer, and we sold, there were 54 locations available. They sold out at 250 each. And then ShopRite gave us permission to use their street lamps on their property. So that gave us another 20 locations. And that was just, what, a couple weeks ago. And they have sold out too. So, you know, the banners cost about $30 each or so to print. So that's given us a good some startup funds to do this. We've also recently initiated more of a major sponsorship, and this is reaching out to larger corporations and organizations that are like throughout the county. And we have bronze sponsorship is 1,000, silver is 2,500, and gold is 5,000. And so far we have 2 gold sponsors and we have a bronze sponsor. So that's an additional $11,000.
We are continuing to look for sponsors.
Right.
Gold, silver, and bronze throughout the year. So
yeah, so we're reaching out to them. We'll mention them, thank them profusely at every event, have their logos prominently displayed. So, you know, we're trying to do this, you know, so that, you know, we can cover our costs. So.
And we have one other fundraiser coming up. Nancy, do you want to talk about the bricks?
Oh, yeah. The Casey Hiddle volunteered to do a brick paver, one of the Spire brick projects. And this walkway would be installed by the gazebo on the grounds of Barrow Hall. So again, we're kind of now getting the details about exactly what we're going to be pricing things for, the vendor and everything, but we hopefully will be sending information out about that as soon as possible. But that'll be a nice way for local residents to contribute and have a permanent way of, you know, recognizing their family and loved ones or whatever for the 100th anniversary. So
makes everyone a part of this.
Yeah,
part of the community. Yeah.
Hi, Christy.
It all sounds wonderful.
Well, let's you know, there's a lot of people seem to be getting excited about it, which is nice. I know.
Yeah.
The library, as always, has been so incredibly helpful. I know the women's club people are starting to reach out and asking if there's something they could do or something they could support. So, you know, that's nice. I think after past 2 years, people are kind of interested in doing something fun. So, Christine, did you have a question or about?
No, I was just saying that I want a brick after.
Oh, you want a brick? Okay, good. We'll save you.
Memorialize my time in New Milford.
Okay. Yeah, we do. I did tell Casey to make sure that Vince Cahill and DPW is in on that, to get their input on, you know, what brick, you know, what to do. I mean, they're going to install it for us, so we want to make sure, you know, that Vince is on board with, you know, what size of brick we're going to use. I know the smaller bricks, you know, are probably very, you know, more profitable. They get a higher profit margin, but if it's going to be difficult for the DPW to install them, you know, I don't want, you know, we want to see, you know, ask people who have to actually carry this out, you know, to make sure that
we will,
you know,
we will take care of the details. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I think it's going to be exciting.
So Nancy, the banners will be going up in the next couple of weeks, right?
Right. We'll get those up. Yeah, they're scheduled to go up towards the end of March. We wanted to wait until we got past, you know, the worst of the winter weather. They're vinyl banners. They're 18 by 36, and we'll keep them up all year round, and then return them to the sponsors at the end of the year, so they can have a little keepsake, or they can donate it to the time capsule right now.
So say we're gonna stuff one in a time capsule.
Yeah, right. So
Well, there is rumor that apparently a Mr. Kevin Kelly has something buried in that time capsule.
and you can have it back.
It sounds somewhat ominous. So
Oh,
since
didn't
it's
you?
members of the public are aware of it and listening to this, it's a boy cigar from when I was a council person. My son was born.
Oh, how
So I'm
sweet.
gonna try to get him there on the 3rd.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
Get it before and after.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, right. Well, we, that's part of, we're trying to invite, especially people who are on council at that time who were there for the ceremony. So, we're excited,
Yeah.
I think,
Should be
people will.
fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yes.
It will.
So,
We're looking
Thank you
forward to
so
it.
much,
great.
Nancy.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Nancy.
You're welcome.
We'll see you around the campus.
You will.
That was a wonderful update.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay. Item number 7, Administrator's Report.
Thank you,
Chris.
Mayor.
You're welcome.
Yes, the COVID task force met on February 17th with reports from the Board of Health, Police Department, the Fire Department, the DPW, the Board of Ed, and the Borough Administration. Topics discussed including the lifting of the mask mandate in borough buildings and the resumption of in-person meetings. I think the mayor's going to talk a little bit more about that. The Budget Committee is working on our recommendation for the budget introduction, which is scheduled March 28th. On February 16th, myself, the zoning officer, the fire/construction official, and our borough attorney met to discuss the status of outdoor dining. The state has authorized outdoor dining through November of 2022, but the moratorium on the use of tents expired November 30th, 2021. For this reason, all of the restaurants that have been notified that they must remove their outdoor tents by March 1st, or they may be subject to some penalties. The engineering report, Knights Field is completed, but the final seating and restoration is going to be completed in the spring. The pavilion that we discussed earlier, the installation is anticipated by early summer upon delivery of the materials. Madison Avenue sidewalks, the plans have been submitted to Bergen County Engineering. They were submitted in January. We did get some comments back, and they've been resubmitted as of last week with an anticipated bid date of June 2022. The DOT culvert project, the design is in progress. We are in need of getting private owners' signatures that are required for the DEP applications, and we're going to be requesting those signatures early in March. The Kennedy Field bench covers, the materials are scheduled for delivery this week, and we're anticipating that that project will be completed spring of 2022. The temperature has to be above a certain number for a period of time before we can actually do any work with the turf. Graphic Boulevard Improvement Project, we're awaiting the DOT approval. We're expecting that approval to come in any day now, and we're anticipating that we will be going out to bid in March or April. The Pacific Street Improvement Project, which is a community development project, the design is complete. We're waiting on the county's approval, and we're anticipating going out to bid for that in March or April. And the Graphic Boulevard Signalization Project, the application was submitted January 5th to the DOT, and we are still awaiting a response from the DOT. And the only other thing that I have is that our next meeting will be held virtually, and that will be 2 weeks from tonight on Monday, March 14th.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions for the administrator? Okay. If not, council committee reports. Could I get a motion to file council committee reports with the borough clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Why don't we go around the squares real quick? And we're going to start tonight with Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Thank you, Mayor. The Environmental Commission is, thank you for the appointee, everyone, of our new addition to the Environmental Commission. The commission is growing, it's active, there are many activities happening. Want to remind you, since we mentioned the mention of the fields warming up, that spring is coming, and with that are the migratory birds. So remember to, if you see a bird, just leave it where it is. Some nest on the ground, some nest in trees, and they have different areas. So it's a international offense to move a bird. So there's an international migratory bird treaty to inform everyone about. The Environmental Commission is also still looking for a secretary. So if there is someone who is interested in being a recording secretary, this is not a appointed, this is not an appointment. This is it's nominally, how do I describe this, Chris? What is my correct wording? I don't want to get in trouble from Kevin by using the wrong word.
There's a nominal reimbursement for
Nominal reimbursement. Thank you.
for the efforts.
Thank you. So the Environmental Commission is looking for a recording secretary. So anyone interested can send me an email and speak to me directly for more information. The Green Team is pursuing the energy audits and pursuing information there, and they're working behind the scenes on that. And the Mayor's Wellness Campaign is also looking for members. So if people are interested in being active with the Mayor's Campaign, Mayor's Wellness Campaign, sorry, it's a lot of mouthfuls, please give me an email or a call. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. Council President Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, as you can see from Nancy's report, the 100th anniversary executive committee has been meeting, like I would say, at least twice a month, maybe more since last year. So that's been taking a lot of our time, but we are so excited that this has begun. So, you know, we look to the council to be the representatives of the town during these events. So, you know, wear your ID and just be around. So we'll appreciate that. Under the Board of Health and Health Department, our Board of Health members have a committee that is, the committee is interviewing for our public health nurse. So that project is ongoing. Hopefully that we will fill that position soon. With the fire department, the department chief and the two house chiefs are going to meet with the budget committee in the next couple of weeks, and it's kind of looking forward to this. It's really the first time in a long time we've done something like this, where we sit down together, talk to each other directly about what the department needs, what the department has, and for them to hear what the borough has as far as budgetary constraints or availability. So it's a planning meeting, it's a budget meeting, it's all of the above. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think we'll all walk away learning something from each other doing that. So that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Seymour.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, some exciting news that registration has now opened for recreation sports. So for those who are interested in registering their kids, get on the website, sign their kids up. I'm pretty sure that not only is registration open for recreation soccer, I believe it's also open for travel soccer too. So all of those registrations are ongoing. At the last school board meeting, our elementary school students gave a fantastic presentation from the 2 elementary schools. And I can't say enough how great it is to see how smart and creative our kids are. They gave an absolutely fabulous presentation. So definitely going to give well-deserved praise to those students and their families and parents and their teachers for the hard work they've done with those students. Really, they've done a great job. And speaking of our schools, this week is Read Across America week, Dr. Seuss theme. And many of us, I'm sure, will be reading at the schools on Wednesday in honor of Read Across America. And I also just wanted to point out, even though she's been very humble about this, but at the last board meeting, the board recognized, deservedly so, Councilwoman Grant's hard work, dedication, and real perseverance in working with the school and properly recognizing the old colored burial grounds, which Councilwoman Grant worked hard to find and discover. It's really a remarkable story. So Councilwoman, you deserve all the credit in the world, and I appreciate you continuing to put so much passion into our history. So thank you. And finally, I would just close just by saying that the Ukrainian people are in my thoughts and prayers, and it's a sober reminder once again that our freedom isn't free. So I thank our veterans and our active service members everywhere for their service and their sacrifice to our country for freedom. Thank you. That's my update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report on the cemetery. I think over the past couple of months, I said that we were having a preservationist come in, Jim Carpenter, and he came in I believe it was last Monday, found some very interesting and fascinating things. He was very impressed with the cemetery. He was impressed with the fact that a lot of the carvings on these tombstones, some of them were professionally done and some of them were homemade or home done with regular little tools. He found that there were about 23 markers that are in serious condition. 9 of them, that was also included the 9 of the Revolutionary War veterans. But the one thing he noticed that he's not seen in any cemeteries, and I have to check his name, was a what was his last name now? Well, anyway, Uzal, however you say that, Meeker. He was a Revolutionary War soldier. He's the only one that he has found that survived being down in the it was a prison down by the Brooklyn docks, and that he survived that prison because they said it was like the Hanoi Hilton. So he's given us a lot of information. We're going for that grant where it's a 60-40, and that's about it right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Grodzki.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, other than working on the budget, I have nothing further to report, other than there was a shade tree meeting last week. I was unable to attend. I know they're working on changing some of the ordinance, and probably have more to report at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councilman Seymour, for those kind words.
You deserve it.
Thank you. I think you might be interested. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown on February 16th proposed a bill in the Senate, the U.S. Senate, that is to preserve African-American burial grounds. And I have contacted our US Congressman, Josh Gottheimer, and asked him if he would look into this and support it, because I think it's perfect timing to help ours. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot to preserve there, but it's clearly brought up the need to preserve these burying grounds. The rabies clinic, which was scheduled originally in February, will be held on Saturday, March 12th. That's a week from this coming Saturday from 10 to 1. So bring your pets down for their free rabies shots. Dogs must be leashed. Cats must be in enclosed cages or crates or carrying cases of some sort. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. They will also be issuing licenses at the rabies clinic, according to Joan. So that's good news. All right, I have a
Well,
couple
Mayor,
of
are you
things.
sure? Excuse me, Mayor, are you sure? Because originally that weren't going to be doing licensing. For the last few
I
years, they
spoke with
haven't.
her. I spoke with her over the weekend. People were
All right.
asking on when I posted it on the mayor's Facebook page. Joan said that they were, so I posted that someone will be there to do licenses. So
Good, I wasn't aware of the change. Thank you.
yes. Yes. Okay. Chris had mentioned our COVID task force meeting. So I'd mentioned this before. I will just update again. Beginning on March 7th, masks will be optional in borough buildings. If you are comfortable not wearing a mask, you are not required to wear one. If you're not comfortable, you may wear one. Our meetings, we are looking to go back to in-person meetings starting in the second quarter of 2022, which would be April. All of the boards, committees, and commissions will have the option to be in person or virtual for the second quarter, which are the months of April, May, and June. The mayor and council will opt to go in person starting in April. And at the end of the quarter, hopefully we will revisit and everything will be a go-ahead for all in-person meetings across the borough. I wanted to give a huge shout out to the New Milford High School cheerleaders. Saturday, they became the 2022 New Jersey State Champions. So way to go. I know it's a fantastic program. They were like undefeated for like 3 years. They're like amazing. And to cap it off with a state title is just wonderful.
Awesome.
That is one group that once we go back in person, I'm planning on having them come in and we give them some certificates, you know, because it's well deserved. COVID numbers. On the last 7 days, our COVID numbers have been around 17. I didn't get the updated number tonight, so the trend is still following. It is trending down, which is good news. It's New Milford is following the same trend as the county and as the state and as the country. So that's all good news.
Mayor, were there any fatalities in February?
No. So we are still at, yes, we are still at 71 is still our total fatality number. And we do not want that to change any higher.
Agreed.
Last week, I had the opportunity to meet with the leadership of the YMCA that is opening in April. Their space is the school at Ascension, so the space that the French Academy was occupying. It was myself, the rec director, the senior center director, and the DPW superintendent. So we got an on-site tour, a walkthrough. We learned more about the programs that they're offering. We talked about partnerships with the borough, partnerships with business, partnerships with the school district. They are really excited to be here. They think it's going to be a wonderful location for them. They will have the field space, something they did not have in Hackensack. Although they do not have a pool, they are looking outside of the borough to partner with someone for some sort of swimming accommodations. And they reiterated the fact that even though people have been saying it, there is absolutely no housing that's going to be happening at that site or in New Milford. So, but you know, I think they're going to be very successful here. They are offering a lot of younger children programs, pre-kindergarten and kindergarten childcare. So anyone out there who's looking for summer care or childcare for their really young toddlers, infants, kindergartners, YMCA may be an option for you. You should certainly look into it. I had mentioned to them that we would put the link to their website in our little section on our borough website for a while, just so, you know, transition them into the community, and they're going to be very appreciative of that. And they are a banner sponsor for the 100th anniversary. We are happy about that as well. And I believe that is all I have. Anyone have any questions for me? If not, I would ask if everyone took a look at the resolutions. Are there any that need to be pulled out for further discussion? Okay. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to open up for public comment.
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, we are now open. You have 5 minutes to talk about anything New Milford related. All you need to do is give us your name and your address.
No one has indicated that they wish to speak, Mayor.
Motion to close.
May I
to
get a
the
motion to
public.
close to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be moving into a closed session after we do the resolutions. No action will be taken, and as soon as we come out of close, we are immediately going to adjourn the meeting. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve resolutions 2022:86 through 2022:92.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Well, once again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And our next meeting will be the 14th of March. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
And thank you, Nancy. That was a great update.
Can't wait.
I'll be right back. I just have to get some water.
I just have to shut the fireplace that's been blazing behind my back.
Oh.
I think my chair might have melted.